Hello, my name is Allison Carmen, and welcome to my podcast, 10 Minutes to Less Suffering. And the name of today's podcast is You Can't Have Everything. Where would you put it? And this is actually a quote by the comedian Stephen Wright, and it actually made me laugh because most of us don't think about what would actually happen if everything we wanted that we dreamed of came into our lives at once. And I actually thought about this when I was speaking to a good friend of mine who's a teacher. And he's an excellent writer, and his dream was always to write novels. But these days he's teaching high school and he feels totally satisfied and fulfilled. And he's also the father of 2 young children and has a wonderful wife. And his days are really filled and he doesn't have time to write. And he did say to me, he got to a point that he realized that his life was so filled and so blessed. How would he take that on? And he said, I finally have peace about it. And I'm not saying it's never going to happen or possibly I'll write that novel when I retire. But why should I not love this beautiful full plate that I have in my life right now? And I thought what he said was so deep and meaningful. Because often our dreams and the things we want, sometimes we allow them to steal the moment, and sometimes we forget all the wonderful, beautiful things that we have in our lives. And I think over the past 4 years, this has been on my mind a lot. I was busy dealing with my husband leaving me, and my older daughter was graduating from college, heading to law school. I launched my daughter from high school to college. I had a very demanding job. I launched a book. But I remember sometimes feeling frustrated. Why hasn't this happened for me yet? I'm not selling more books. How come I can't put out more podcasts? How come I'm not seeing friends more often? Why haven't all my dreams come true? Why haven't I been able to move past this relationship? But when I look back, had everything happened for me all at once, where would I have put everything? And yes, it's so easy to look back and see that. But the point is, in the moment when we're feeling that lack, that dissatisfaction, sometimes we have to step back and really look at our life. What do we have room for? Do we have room to take care of ourselves? Do we have room to fulfill our obligations? Do we have room to create new things in our lives? Do we have room to see the people that we love? And sometimes we might look at our dreams and say, well, I want to clear my plate because this is the most important thing to me. And other times the miracles are happening right in front of us. And part of what's on our plate is pursuing our dreams. And we have to trust that in the right time, with the right effort, with the right attitude, with the right heart, we will create these things. But if we don't have enough room in our lives, at that moment, whatever we create, we might not be able to enjoy. So I do think part of our dream and part of where we are in life, it's really important to take almost an accounting of what we can handle in any given moment. And should we stretch ourselves? Of course we should. But we let all the stories of everything that hasn't happened in our lives become bigger than what's actually happening and what we could handle in the moment. So how can we do this? How can we keep our dreams alive? Understand where we are, appreciate where we are, and let go of that frustration and that disappointment and trust that we'll be able to handle whatever comes our way, but we could also find satisfaction for what we have now and welcome new things when the time is right. And the first thing that we could do is always write down all your dreams. Dreaming big, visioning things out, and also leaving openings for things you can't even imagine at this moment. And then make a list of all the things that you have in your life today. The things you didn't expect, the things you dreamed of, the things you achieved. And do you really have room for something new? And sometimes we do. It's the perfect moment to let something new in. We have enough time to start something new. We have enough time to start a new project. And welcome that in and open up to it. And look at that list of dreams and welcome the one that is closest to your heart. It starts with a thought, and then an action, and then some patience, and a lot of maybe. And over time, you can make that dream come true. You also might find that your plate is very full right now. Maybe with things you chose and maybe with some things that just happen. But it's really important to accept where you are and recognize, hey, I don't have the space right now for all the things I want to happen in this moment. And let go of that disappointment and let go of that frustration. Don't let go of that desire, because what you desire desires you. But allow yourself to be in the moment without feeling bad, without feeling it's never going to happen, without feeling things aren't right, because everything's exactly as it's supposed to be, because it is, because that's what's happening. And when we could accept it, we could look at it and be objective about it. Are there things we have to complete at this moment, or are there things that we could let go of? Sometimes we're so frustrated we don't have what we want. We can't even see clearly what we have. Perhaps there are things you're ready to let go of to make space for new things. Or maybe you have so many blessings in your life, your heart is so filled that you could feel that satisfaction and that gratitude and the blessings. And at the same time, hold your dreams and know that they also reside in your heart. And when the time is right, you'll create a space for them. When the time is right, you'll start to pursue it. Or when the time is right, an opening will come to you. We have so many stories in our lives about it's too late to pursue our dreams. We can't have what we want. If it was going to happen, it would have happened already. We're too old. The timing will never be right. But our dreams are real for a reason, because it's what we're connecting to. And just because anything in your life hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to in the future. But we must remain exactly where we are. And often we can't see all the beauty in our lives because we're so busy wanting more than we have in the moment. But every life and every moment has beauty and lessons and so much more meaning than we could even imagine if we could just stand before it and let go of how we thought life should be, how we think it should be, how things are wrong, and just accept it and be with it and embrace it. And again, then you could really look at it. And if you lack that meaning and you lack that fullness, well, your dream list is right there. And you have the time to make it happen. And if you don't, well, then every day spend some time with it in your heart. Spend some time connecting with it. And spend some time believing in it, that one day you'll have that in your life too. Sometimes you really don't have enough space for everything, and we have to make choices. But life is long, and opportunities are plenty, and your dreams are real. For me, I look back on the past 4 years, and it almost even makes sense. Both my daughters have actually recently come to me and said, Mom, because of what you've done the last 4 years, we know we're going to be okay no matter what. And I didn't even realize that that was the biggest dream of my life. To know that my kids believe in themselves and know they can handle whatever comes their way. Every moment I was dissatisfied or unhappy, I had no idea that I was achieving the greatest dream of them all. And that's another thing too, we can't always know exactly what's happening in life when it's happening. And that's when we could use some faith or some maybe. And we could remember to love what is. Acknowledge you can't have everything, because where would you put it? But that's only just for a moment. Life will keep changing. There'll be things that come and things that go. Things you achieve and then you move on. New dreams, new possibilities. And always remembering that maybe the best is yet to come. Thank you for listening to this podcast today. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can email me at allison@allisoncarmen.com. If you'd like to buy my book, The Gift of Maybe or Year Without Men, they're available at all major bookstores and online retailers. And if you like this podcast, you can subscribe and leave a comment.